All right, here we go.
Super spicy. All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to CryptoZombies, where we bring you the best brains in blockchain. Well, we got a very special guest in the house. Obrigado for our friend Tenny Pinheiro, the man, the myth, the legend. And we're going to be talking a little about the NFT space and design sprints as well. So maybe let's do some quick introductions from my fellow panelists, and we'll dive right in.
Hi, my name is Human, and I am at the Washington, D.C. airport.
Beautiful.
Nice.
And it's Chris Kelly. I'm coming from the beautiful Vidara Hotel in Las Vegas today.
Oh, Chris.
All right, nice guys. My name is Bryn Wynn, and I apparently am your resident Trump coin intel guy. I know nothing about
That's right.
it. I have no interest actually acquiring any assets, but thank you.
A little bit of an XRP expert too sometimes. So
Yeah, there you go. And here we have.
I dig the PSA. It's like, this is not financial advice, but you know.
Don't hate me.
So Tenny, please.
Yeah. I'm Tenny Pinheiro. I'm a serial entrepreneur, author, glad to be here to chat.
Right on.
Teddy, give us a little bit more of your background. Like, what are you an expert in? What are you currently working on? Brag about yourself a little bit.
Sure. So I started my career. I'm a designer. I'm a unicorn design and software engineer. So I started my career in interaction media, creating interface for games and designing them. That was back in the late 90s, before the Nasdaq bubble. And so that's interesting that we are going to talk about another similar bubble story today, because I got to experience that first one, and got hit hard by it, like everything kind of like shaken up, and then everything readjusted. So my career went from there. I started to work with UX design, went to Africa where I lived for 2 years, designing systems and services for communities in need, which kind of like shaped my design thinking mentality, if you will. And ended up writing books about that and other experiences, ended up being spearheading one of the most prestigious service design agencies in the world, and creating and helping hundreds of companies and startups innovate their services.
Not only that, he's the best, which we went through years and years ago, which was just a marvelous experience. It felt creative, it felt interactive, but there was still structure. It was like an outline, but left space for brainstorming. And we love those delicious brains. So, Tenny, tell us a little bit about what you were doing at Meta, specifically with the Meta Reality Labs. Those are pretty good stuff.
Sure, and that was a great experience actually. So coming through this UX experience and having that background of interactive media design back then. So my time at Meta was basically within the Reality Labs team, helping the team.
Oh, and we're back. Sorry, Teddy, we just lost you. Go ahead.
Sorry. So my time at Meta was within the Reality Labs team, where I was helping them building the first iteration actually of what's going to one day become Orion, which is what Zuckerberg just showed as a prototype. But the first iteration being Stella, which was released as the Ray-Ban collaboration with Facebook. So that was a project that I was working in, had a blast working on, thinking interaction interface that are actually like human consumable in a way that people can actually onboard properly, relate properly, helping with the design system, and had a blast with an amazing team. And
I had to go get my Meta Ray-Bans.
That's amazing.
Oh, there he is.
There you go. Yeah.
Well, Teddy, Chris used to work at Facebook. Did you know this?
No.
Yeah, I was the first general counsel, and still quite close.
He wrote all the rules, Teddy. He wrote all the rules for Facebook.
Yeah, to say he worked for Facebook is an understatement.
So yeah, and yeah, still, and I had lunch with Nick Clegg in London last week, right before his book came out, and still a big believer in the company, and not everything that goes on over there. There's a space for some criticism and some discussion about where they can do things better, but I go way back, and it's exciting to hear that you worked on a project that I think is working extraordinarily well. So
yeah. It was, and it is, and I think it's going to, it's still shaping up, but I think it's, I believe AR is the future. I believe VR, it's actually, going to give space to augmented reality. So I think they are on the right track, and they are experimenting. And I think it was a clever idea to turn Orion into a prototype. I think that was after I left, but I think it was a clever move.
I'm very much looking forward to playing with it much more in the future, and I've really enjoyed. I got a pair of the Oakleys too that just came out. So
oh yeah.
So go ahead, please, Nick.
So Tenny, I was going to say, you're a world-class designer. In fact, Bob Whitehead, so the co-founder of Activision, had said that you're one of the exceptional talents with incredible coding skills combined with outstanding design. So you can kind of peek into the future and see what the future of UX is like. So Tenny, do you think the future of the user experience is just, it almost like disappears, where it's like immersive, or do you think that the modalities will be stacked, or what is the future of product engagement and experience like? That's
a good question. By the way, Bob is too nice of a guy, but I really appreciate what he said. But the thing with the future of UX, and I get asked that a lot, it's it comes back to look at us as human beings. When you go to spatial computing and people coming from a tech, and because I bridge design and tech a lot. Whenever I'm advising founders, or whenever when I was at Meta Reality Labs, I'm always on the bridge between design and tech, being a software engineer and a designer. So I speak both languages, so I get used to do that a lot. And one of the things that the engineers come from is the perspective of everything is going to be different because we don't have interfaces anymore, and then we don't have physical screen interface anymore. So everything is spatial, everything is 3D space, no rules apply. And that's a lie, like all of the rules apply. And like a good design is actually abstract enough to be applied to that, because design is in fact an interface between what is that you want to offer and a millennia or thousands of years of human behavior. Like I'll give you an example. The fork that you eat today, that you used to eat, was invented in the Byzantine Empire on the 4th century. So 15 centuries later, nobody had a better idea. That's the thing with human behavior. Like we are creatures of habit. So when we introduce a new technology or a new space, like the spatial computing is, we tend to think that everything is going to change. But the fact is that like that thing called the human being is going to be moving into that place. And with it, lots of behaviors and cognitive models are going to move into that space as well. And understanding behavior and cognitive models is how we do UX. So the future of UX is, just do good UX, just keep digging those behaviors and those understanding those cognitive models and creating whatever it is, the tool that you're creating in the future.
Tenny, so you're an expert in NFTs, correct?
I am somebody that was involved since the beginning of the revolution. And
okay, so explain to us what NFTs were and what they're going to become, and then I want to know if Chris is going to do anything in NFTs. I want the truth.
Can't handle the truth, Human.
I got stories, but I want to hear the background first.
Okay. So basically, for the people that doesn't know, like NFTs, if you strip everything down, there's a lot of ways to talk about it. But if you strip everything down, NFTs are an ID. that's what you get. Like, it may be attached to an image, it may be attached to something else. But when you understand NFT by the core of the technology, it's an immutable ID that you get. Like it means that it depends on the protocol, it depends on the chain. But basically, when people are talking about NFT, it's tagging on that Ethereum path for 2020, 2021, ERC 721, and the ownership of a digital asset. And that boils down to an ID, like a membership ID of a club. And that ID, it gets you three things, or it should get you three things. It's something that you own, and then it's something that allows you or gives you a membership to something, or makes you a part of something. So it's something that you own, it's something that you are, because it gives you that membership, and it's something that you can do. It gives you a new power, a new ability. It should cover those three things that I did. Sometimes we don't get to deliver that, and that's when projects start to back then we had a lot of examples. 2021 was a petri dish of examples of when things doesn't work, and that's basically, in a nutshell, it's an idea.
So,
all right, Chris.
I'm a big believer in the space. The most prominent use of NFTs that I've been involved in so far is and I'm not an investor in the project, but I watch it from the perspective of ownership in the basketball world, that in NBA Top Shot that Dapper Labs has put together, and the moments that they capture in these NFTs that are minted on the Flow blockchain now instead of Ethereum, which probably was a strategic mistake on the part of Dapper at the end of the day, but they wanted to do their own blockchain at the time. And then I paid very close attention to the other things that are minted on Ethereum, and in fact, I'm an investor in a company that had a gamified cybersecurity environment for skills teaching, and then would issue NFTs that indicated that you've met certain standards, ISO standards, and other things for learning in cybersecurity environments. And so, I mean, NFTs they have incredible functionality, potential functionality. They're not just your Bored Apes or Pudgy Penguins or things like that.
No, yeah, that's the kind of like the mistake that people make, because people look at this era and it's obviously Top Shop was
and I should stress that I'm not meaning to insult Bored Apes or Pudgy Penguins there too.
No, it's but it was dominated by that idea of a collectible, and collectibles are going to always have their place, but collectibles are one business model. It's not the underlying tech, and the underlying tech is has a potential to change a lot of things. And to actually kind of like be the underlying foundation for a lot of innovation moving into the future. And that's one of the things that I've been watching. But there's also that period of 2021 where those collectibles, they all went sour, not all of them, but most of them. And then it leaves a bad taste. And then companies try to, not go there, and we're kind of like still drinking from that a little bit.
Teddy, talking about blockchain, have you ever heard of alchemy? Ever hear of those nobodies?
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think of those guys?
Oh, they suck, man. No.
Really?
I loved it, man. Yeah. Like, honestly, when we were I was in 2022, I was involved in I started a big research project that was based on trying to decode the human soul, which is kind of like basically what is your classification, what is you digitally. And based to do that, we did a lot of research in 5 different countries: Japan, in Netherlands, the UK, Brazil, etc. But it came down to do a lot of, back then, 2021, like I said, it was a petri dish of like, everything is exploding, Discord is exploding. So I thought this is a great moment to actually do a lot of testing and iteration and prototypes. And I used a lot of Node.js bots that I coded on Discord with Alchemy that saved my ass. Like, Alchemy was like, the thing, because I to code like natively, to talk natively with Ethereum was so unreliable back then. So Alchemy helped me a lot. So I was an early user to it. So congrats, man. It's a great product.
Can you believe Chris?
Fun
Chris
ride.
was the first investor.
Yeah, I was one of the first investors, and the pivot to alchemy from down to lunch began in my basement. So, and Joe and Akil are still two of my closest friends to this day. So,
hey, Teddy.
Yeah.
What do you think of Gary Gensler?
Oh man, can we curse here?
Yes. Yeah. What do you want to say about Gary?
No, that's the thing. Like, I was just mentioning the big research. The intention was to create a product out of it, but we never let the research stage because of what happened with FTX, of course, but also like all the regulations at 2022. Like, what happened in 2022 with Gary and all the FTX circles, and so we got to pitch at Web Summit. We got to speak with a lot of investors back then. It was an interesting concept because we are trying to give people the ownership of their classification models. So like Netflix, in order to suggest you a film, you have to ask your permission to actually use that inference and actually to maybe pay you something for that, depending on the service and depending on the business logic. But that was the underlying idea. Can we give people the rights for that? Because classification are being used for dating, for suggesting you things, products and films and whatever. But and then they are based on that entity that people have. People have that soul, that digital image of you. You just don't know what it is. So we are trying to revert that. That was a great idea, like early, very early, but still completely disrupted by Gary. So
Gary.
One of the things that I love about Tenny, and he's been a family friend for many years. In fact, Tenny's wife worked with my mom at Apple for I think like almost 2 decades. Is that aside from being a world-class designer and engineer, Tenny also has just a beautiful heart for humans. In fact, he's very much a technologist that's like, and in fact, I believe that was the impetus for creating Kinds app, which we spoke briefly about. But maybe, Tenny, if you could kind of walk us through, what was it like to realize that maybe Myers-Briggs wasn't the best way to really understand our personalities, and at the core of technology has the power to bring us together and change how we interact as humans and change our behaviors. So walk us through a little bit what that process was like building Kinds, and maybe some interesting stories of folks that you got to bring together in that capacity.
Yeah, that's a great question, man. Like this is the beginning of this project, and that ended up becoming this protocol of individuation, how we call it. But the Kinds was this idea of like, how can I create that? How can I decode the human soul? And so I went to study a lot of those. They're called psychometrics, like those studies that you do to actually try to see, oh, I'm an introvert, I'm an extrovert, and then I started to see that most of those things are not really scientifically correlating to behaviors, or scientifically correlating to proper personality drives. And so Myers-Briggs being the biggest one. The biggest deception. First of all, because Myers-Briggs is categorical, you're either an introvert or an extrovert, which is pretty bad for machine learning, and also really unreal for whatever correlation you want. Like people are spectrums, and then kind of like that already, took it away from the model that we were building. But there are others like more serious psychometrics, like the Big Five, like Exaco and others that are created by Berkeley University, Harvard, and etc. So we relied on those ones. So the idea to build Kinds was the idea that's the seed to that project that became Web3, the one that I mentioned. It was the idea to do that, to actually get to that DNA that represents who you are digitally. And it was also an incursion of, because the challenge was, okay, this is who you are. Like, you do a personality test, and then you define who you are. Let's say it's a good one, and then you get that. But then 2 years from now, you got married, or I don't know, you went through something in your life. You are starting to become a different person. That's who we evolve, and how to measure that. How to actually create something that evolves with people. And that's for that we started using Aeon. So Aeon is the theory from Jung, the psychologist, about how people evolve since they are born until they die, based on interactions with rights and things in society. So how to, and then he got to a formula. It's not a really mathematical formula, but it gets very close. So it's very interesting how we kind of like, started to weave both things together to actually do something that evolves with people. And that was what Nick is referring to. Like we started, Nick got to play with the prototypes, we have it in cards. We did workshops in Japan, in Europe, everywhere. And people should play before the app, people would play with cards, physical cards.
How many relationships were made because of it? How many babies were made because of kinds? I'm curious.
I can disclose that information. the thing with that led us to do that is basically the idea of trying. That was the premise. That was the first question. How can we help fight loneliness? Loneliness is an epidemic, and we started with this premise back then, like. What's going on? First, let's study what's going on, and also how can we help? Like, how can design help? And many people don't know, but this is like, if you Google, you will see like loneliness kills more. Like it's crazy. It's like it's worse for you than smoking 15 cigarettes a day, and that's statistical. And it's really one of the most dangerous things for this generation. And the most lonely people are students, are the youth. And then, yeah.
Can we talk about that a little bit? Because now you're talking, because I travel a lot, and so does Chris, and obviously we're alone when we travel. And because during the pandemic, loneliness was an epidemic, and people still haven't recovered from that. Like they've still stayed isolated. Like a mindset has formed where people are still scared to go out. Like we host live speaker series, and our friends live a mile or two away, and it's free. And we say, come meet some people, and they won't go out. Yeah. So what are some of the cures, and what can people do to address this in 2025? And it's worse in California. The states that had the most lockdown still have the worst sense of loneliness.
That is true. And the thing, when you look at like students like kind of leading, so there was a study made by Sigma that says that figured out that students and unemployed people are the most lonely. And unemployed people, you can kind of like figure it out, but then students, like why? Right? Like, and that's before the pandemic. Like this is the work that we started before the pandemic, and the study came before as well. One of the main drivers that we found out that drives loneliness is dating apps for students, for instance. They are kind of like driving loneliness. And this is because of something called the commitment level. Commitment level is a scientific kind of like framework for you to understand commitment. Commitment to a job, commitment to a person, commitment like to a deal or whatever you want. So it actually relies on three different variables that they measure. One is the satisfaction, of course, that you are in that relationship. How satisfied you are with your job or with your girlfriend. But the second one is the investment level that you have. Like maybe you bought a car together. Now it's harder. You're gonna like make an effort. Maybe you bought an apartment together, or you were already engaged. Or maybe it's something you need to hold on to that job a little bit longer. So that investment is also counts. But the third one is the one that dating apps were absolutely destroying, and that is called the quality of inventories. The perception for people that they may have a better option close to them, and that actually creates completely destroy the index of commitment level, destroys commitment, and creates the idea that people have a lot of this generation has a lot of commitment issues. The idea of committing becomes scary, and they keep asking themselves if they can do better. And that kind of like is one of the biggest findings of this research that we're not really expecting. And the idea also that social media has nothing to do with it, which we were hoping that there was something related to it.
Wow, that is fascinating. I actually feel smarter as a result of what you just said. Normally we walk away from these crypto podcasts, I feel dumber, but you just made me feel smarter. I don't know how you did it, Tenny. All right, let's
less
go.
lonely too.
less lonely in this moment. You know what's funny, because I wanted to skip this week, but these guys are like, Human, stay committed. And I guess this goes along the lines of what you're saying. All right, Tenny, let's go back to what we're supposed to talk about, which is crypto and NFTs and AI and blockchain. For somebody, because clearly you're an expert in certain areas, other areas you're hugely deficient. No, I'm just kidding. But
Yes.
I'm just wondering, if somebody wants to learn, do you ever point them somewhere? Do you have a YouTube video, a book, something? Is there anywhere when somebody's just like so basic they don't understand any of it that you say this could be helpful to you?
Yeah, I wrote a book in 2014.
Oh, here we go. Plug the book.
Yeah,
It's a bestseller.
So it actually that book introduced it. The name is The Service Startup, and it talks about that mindset, that design mindset that you need to think of first before you actually build. You can have experiments and you can have tech-driven innovation. That's not wrong, but in order to scale, you need adoption. In order to find adoption, you need to be adaptive, and design is what helps you do that, and that's the book. That book introduced the design sprints 2 years before Google did, and it was like my take on mixing the design methods that we were using before with R&D and in companies that were kind of like long, with the lean startup explosion that was happening in 2013, 14. And I started to experiment in clients, like how to move fast with the design, like how to do 5 days iterations, how to do, from discovery to prototypes. Let's go in 5 days, let's see what happens. And I ended up putting together this system, and I wrote this book about it. So the book has the entire methodology of how you can do that. Is when you go through, and then 2 years later, Google released the sprint, which is also has a great approach to it. Those things happen. They are called design sprints. They help you infuse your technology with design very quick and very cheaply. So I think that's the way to go if you want to learn about it. Yeah.
Very cool.
Fascinating. Well, before we end the show, Chris, tell Tenny what you're working on and see if he approves of it. The Treasury Company. I
need to take a picture of us first with my Meta.
Do it again, bro. Do it again. Everyone, strike a pose.
Yeah, put me up front, and I'll get a picture of us all and distribute it to you guys later on. I've been running a crypto-focused venture fund that has been amassing Alchemy secondary shares and a number of other things. Did a seed investment in Hemi, which is this super secure bridge between Bitcoin and Ethereum. But lately, I've been focusing more of my time on a digital asset treasury company that we're going to build out with a large amount of crypto on the balance sheet, splitting it between Bitcoin and Ethereum. A lot of people are very religious about which one, or they say you have to choose. We're going to be aggressively agnostic here, and we're going to say it's both of the ones that have escaped, and we're going to look into other currencies over time and be very straightforward with our investors. It's going to be a publicly traded company with what our mix is in terms of what we're holding in treasury, and also about what we're doing with it. There'll be a little bit of a point of sale system for the collection of more crypto over time, but this has become all the rage, and I don't know if you've participated in one or if you've seen some of them out there, but ultimately you have to figure out how to use them. And I do think that NFTs will play more of a role in how these, at least in communicating with clients and in establishing, membership and holdings in the companies.
I agree.
Well, what do you think, Tenny? You sign off on this, or is it not going to work out?
No,
give Chris the news.
No, I think it's great, and I totally agree. I think NFTs are going to mature to what they are supposed to be, which is definitely not only supporting collectibles, and we have supply chain use case. We have everything is on a build up. LVMH working with authenticity of goods. I truly think banks should use them. Because that thing about validating things on Instagram, that sucks a little bit, because if you guys don't know, Banksy, he does something, he takes a picture, he puts on his Instagram. That's how he actually says that's mine. And then everybody chases it. And we just had one Banksy here like 2-3 days ago. It lasted for 2 days because he just did it.
Yeah.
It just is. Yeah. So,
Tenny, what was the name of your book again?
The Services Startup.
And is it just a regular book, or is there an audio version of it?
There is an audio.
On Amazon as well. Yeah.
Wow. Did you read the book, or did someone else read it?
Bryn.
Oh, you're talking to Tenny, aren't you?
Yeah, Tenny.
Yeah.
Did you read the book, or
no, someone else.
Read the book for the audiobook.
For the audiobook.
We could use 11 Labs and have Tenny's voice so that actually happens.
Yeah, 11 Labs, you're like, it's
not a fan, Tenny? Is that what you're kind of picking up on?
I'm giving a good effort to it. Like, you know.
Wow, okay.
That's it's the best that we have. It's the best that we have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ask Tenny the final question here, Nick.
All right, but just really quickly before we get into that, thank you, Tenny, for joining us.
Thank you.
You know, it was fascinating to me how we talked a little bit about solving loneliness with technology. You know, specifically because Chip Conley, who was on the show about 1.5 years ago, said that the quality of our social relationships is the biggest indicator of our longevity. Speaking of longevity, on October 10, we're going to do our yearly Ageless Evolution Longevity Summit.
Awesome.
So super excited to announce that in the Bay Area. Get your tickets. It's agelessevolutionsummit.com. You know, who else will be there and is an innovator and an investor in that space is Omri, who's the general partner of NFX, who's I think is a $300 or $400 million fund. And you actually did some work with NFX with the brief. Is that correct, Tenny? Can you tell us about that project real quickly?
Yeah. Oh, that was interesting. Like I had like that was part of a conversation that we were having back. It was before COVID. It was a long time ago. But like they had the brief, which is this internal system for founders. When they onboard people, they want that to kind of like guide you through, you know, just so you know you have all the support that you need. And that was like a redesign that I did. It was a proposal with, I don't know. I don't have the access to see if they actually implemented most of it, but you know, it's there. I like it.
Streamlining the process, taking mud off the racetrack, beautiful design, just really great stuff. So Tenny, again, we're so grateful for you hopping on. We want to see how the zombie community can be helpful to Tenny Pinheiro. So Tenny, how can folks get in touch with you? Can you share a website? For the book, or how can we be valuable to you, Tenny?
Yeah, so reach out to me on LinkedIn. I think that's the best way to start a conversation. And then you know, I'll be very soon posting something. I'm kind of like working on publishing all this research that we just talked about. There's going to be an article on Core 77, it's the biggest American design blog about it. And then, so, you know, just ping me on LinkedIn just so you keep you guys on the loop.
He's got something good cooking, and we're excited to see the launch. We didn't even get to the biomimicry, but maybe next time, Tenny. Anyways,
ask him the biomimicry thing real quick.
All right. Well, okay. So when we had first launched the show, it was down in Medellin, Colombia, on Clubhouse, and Tenny was like maybe our first guest or something like he was the first week. So this has really come full circle, and I guess I'm just curious, like Tenny, we're learning so much about nature, and then we're being able to take these lessons of efficiency and design, and even learning about how the brain works and recreating that and productizing it. So what do you think the next chapter looks like for us from a product perspective and innovation, learning from nature and applying that?
I you know, just tagging into what we were discussing about Web3, like Web3, the difference between Web3 and Web2 is Web3 is people-centric, and it's based on that power of communes and how you create those interactions. And it doesn't matter if it's a DAO, it doesn't matter if it's like a tokenized game or whatever it is. Those people, those societies, they are micro societies. They are micro villages that you're trying to create. So in this case, my recommendation for biomimicry is just imitate how human beings, since the foundation of time, they create those villages, they get together, they actually collaborate and create those communities and actually build from the grassroots movements from the ground up. I think that's going to teach people a lot about how to build those tokenizations and those strategies for peer-to-peer interaction. Peer-to-peer is different. That peer-to-peer is a system where the users can take over the power, and that happened a couple of times already in Web3. And that's, I think, it's interesting to see those models of society design, social design. Quick, I'll just give two cues on that. Like, just search for, I think it's the cube of democracy or democratic cube, which is a theory about how you actually design for people, for them to have a voice and for them to have power to change things without creating a lot of disruptions in the system. That may help folks out there that are trying to create those peer-to-peer Web3, kind of like, weaving those networks of interactions.
I just want to say, I really enjoyed this. I don't normally say that because sometimes I walk away, I'm like, I have no idea what we talked about, but your whole thing on loneliness was genius. And I would love to just do a show with you on that one of these days.
Yeah, Tenny, we're going to roll out the red carpet for you when you come back to the Bay Area.
Absolutely, my pleasure, man. And I'm due to that. I miss Cali so much.
Yeah.
Well, we miss you too. All right, wrap it up.
Thanks so much, Tenny. Great to see you.
Thanks so much.
Brent, can you cue the walk-off music for us here?
You want some rock music?
Great to see you guys. Awesome. And then for more of the best brains, check out SiliconZombies.com and tune in next week for more Crypto Zombies. We'll probably be coming live from DC. So really excited, and take care of yourself. Thanks again, Tenny. Cheers all.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everyone.